Hello, welcome to Joe Squared. If you like us, subscribe, tell a friend, tell your mum, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell all your friends, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, grandparents. A grandparent would love a listen, you know. Might make them feel young again. So put a little review there, subscribe, do your thing. Thanks.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, we're back, baby, back.
It's been a while.
It's Flavours Weekly.
And it's the 27th of November.
Is it going to come out today, though? No.
Yeah, but that's when we're recording. People like to know the sort of behind the scenes things.
It doesn't take long to edit this, by the way.
Oh. Yeah.
It has done in the past, but we're trying to go one take wonders again.
Yeah. Like we were back in our glory days.
Yeah, they were our glory days.
Back at uni. In that fresh studio.
That was so fun, man.
Yeah.
But we got a better studio now. We got a homemade studio.
Yeah. With our own equipment that we own.
Yeah, we bought this.
Fuck yeah.
With money. Self-made.
Wow, man. We've come a long way.
We have.
We're not on the government's teat anymore that much.
Yeah, somewhat. But yeah, we're back with another episode.
So,
we've been reading.
you know me, I think the tabloids have their place, along with the broadsheets. I picked up The Sun the other day.
Red top.
Inside front page, 2 stories on China.
China.
One, China. Frankly, the Grindr,
Yeah.
a dating app for
The LGBT.
non-heteronormative people, if you will.
Okay,
The
LGBTQIA
QIA plus
plus
community.
So Grindr.
Grindr was purchased by a company called Kunlun, a Chinese company. So essentially the Chinese government, because every company in China is answerable to the government.
Yeah.
There's some security risks with this, because people on the app put up their HIV status. They exchange all sorts of funky messages about what they might want to do to each other, to their orifices, things like this, you know?
Yeah. It's quite an explicit app.
The thing is that 2 men,
Yeah.
when they're involved with each other,
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been in a gay relationship, but I think they're just going at it a lot.
Well, I mean, from what I saw in I May Destroy You. Did you watch that?
Yeah,
Michaela
Cole. Yeah, that is what I'm basing it on.
So yeah, that's what I'm basing any knowledge about Grindr on. Is the guy Kwame, I think his name is, in it, is on a sort of substitute Grindr app, but basically
Unofficial Grindr.
Unofficial Grindr, but the turnaround for a relationship on Grindr is instantaneous.
Yeah.
As opposed to, well, I'm sure this happens on Tinder and Hinge and all those other apps as well, but it just seems that on Grindr, if you're on it, you can house some sexual...
You can have location-based sex quite quickly.
Yeah. So in terms of that, it's quite explicit, it's quite forthright, it's quite up-to-date, quite quick. And as you mentioned earlier, that you may not have come out.
Yeah. So
the information...
It's a risk because, and this is why the US government told them that they're not allowed to own Grindr, is because there's a risk that their HIV status, these messages, and the actual fact that they're on Grindr, which is basically it's an admission that they are non-heterosexual.
Yeah.
It could be used to blackmail them.
Yeah.
So the US government said, no, you're not allowed to own this. So sell it on. We'll give you a deadline of June 2020. and it's just gone through that they've sold it to a company called San Vicente Acquisitions, who have very close ties to Kunlun. So, watch out, gays.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's okay to say. Watch out, non-heteronormative people.
Because, yeah, I mean...
Because China owns your information.
Yeah.
And it was proved that Kunlun gave their employees access to the private information.
Yeah, which, I mean, is frightening anyway. I mean, data companies, data anything. I still haven't watched The Social Dilemma because I'm frightened about how much information that I'm giving to people. So I'd rather not know about it.
There's no GDPR in China. It's only, it only goes to the EU.
Fair enough, man. It's quite frightening.
Actually, GDPR, it applies to you if you're dealing with EU countries' data.
Okay.
But America doesn't have it, so maybe that's why America is worried about this, because...
It's blocked.
Yeah,
well, yeah.
Like, they don't really have much data regulation.
US is unregulated.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, this is kind of regulation, because they're telling them, you can't own this.
Yeah. I mean, there's the definite fear from the US about China's dominance and what data they hold and what they're going to use against their citizens. As we mentioned earlier with Donald Trump and TikTok and the blocking of it being owned by a Chinese company, or that they need to sell it and then we're going to sell it to Microsoft and then they put in a sell elsewhere, which is interesting to see the sort of remnants of like Cold War. We never grew up in Cold War times, but I suppose this is quite similar to that.
Yeah.
Communism and how our relationship with another dominant world.
But I mean, according to a lot of people in America, the man that was just elected president is a communist.
Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
He's more centre right than most people, but I mean, if they want to think he's...
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Say no to socialism.
Hell yeah. Wait, what?
No, I mean, he's centre. I'm centre.
Yeah. Well, I believe in the NHS, which is quite left-wing. Yeah. I'm not believing it, but I support it.
Of course. So, what else have you been indulging in this week?
I consumed a documentary last night. Defending Digga D on the BBC 3. So, Digga D is a drill artist, which is a genre of music it's in the post-grime era.
Post-grime, yeah. And
basically, it's about violent crime and drug selling.
Yeah, it's about people's lived experience. It sort of came up from people's lived experiences in London, Manchester, Birmingham, any other places. There are now drill scenes. Well, I think it originated in Chicago with
Chief Keef
and the other one, who's just coming out of jail. No, I've forgotten his name.
Is it JZ?
No, not JZ.
All right.
But so it originated over there, came over to the UK. Some people think that the UK's drill scene is the best. I agree. There's Australian drill now. I don't know if you've seen it. It's good.
Is it actually?
I quite enjoy it. Well, they're now featuring on UK artists, or UK artists now featuring on their tracks.
Australian?
Yeah, Dutch Avelli, the
Dutch guy.
the Dutch guy featured on one of their tracks, who has been recently involved in some, I don't know, allegations of his Instagram got hacked and he was messaging a 14-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, let's not
go into it.
Let's not ask a 14-year-old to see our toes.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah. Thank God the Chinese government hacked his Insta.
somebody targeted Dutch Belly. They may have known. Anyway, people are trying to get him cancelled. It's been a whole thing. Dutch Velli's mum came out defending him, sisters. I'm not
sure if it's cancelled if you're engaging in sort of paedophilic messaging. I think that's just karma.
Yeah.
That's just straight up. There's right and wrong.
No, but some people are just saying this guy needs to be. He can't have a platform anymore. Why are you trying to give this guy a platform when he's a paedophile?
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah.
But the
allegedly, but it's not alleged because it's his Instagram.
Yeah.
So why do you have to call it alleged?
Because it hasn't been proven.
Yeah.
In court.
In
I guess.
court,
but
in a court of law.
I'm not sure if this. Would this go to court?
No, because nobody's pressing charges.
Well, not yet.
No, but the family of the girl. So he had close links with the family of the girl. So that even the mother of the child has come out and said that this isn't what it seems. We're close friends. Da, 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 da. So it's
But
a whole.
He asked her to.
So he asked the mum to give a statement. Everybody's giving statements. Dutchavelli's mum's giving a statement. Dutchavelli's giving a statement. It's a whole thing. Anyway, we got
They're
sidetracked.
defending on all fronts.
Yeah, so people are like complicit in the sort of silencing of any allegations. Anyway, it's a crazy situation. But drill is the new come up. Grime was our thing. Garage was my sister's thing. It seems that UK are now here. What's the next thing going to be? Who knows? But drill is the thing at the moment.
I hope that hymns and choirs make a big comeback for the next generation.
I like Celtic music. My dad plays this sort of like Celtic hymn music once a year on Christmas Day, and it's beautiful, man. I love all types of
You gotta
music.
send me that album.
Send
me a link.
Yeah,
Ask Alan. But
praise Alan.
Praise Alan. So yeah, this guy Digga D. The documentary starts. By the way, very very well shot. All done by Marion. Yeah, so it starts with him coming out of Feltham
Prison.
Yeah, HMP. I'm not. It might be youth offenders. No, he's above 18. I think it's HMP.
But I think Feltham is. I'm not sure.
Feltham's
actually.
both of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Feltham, it's like Winchester. But it comes out. All his pals are spraying him with champagne. And then straight into an interview outside the jail. She just got great access the whole time.
Yeah. So that must have been planned, obviously, for her to be there with the camera.
But that's the first time she met him. So maybe they might have done it for his manager, who plays like a big role throughout the whole thing.
Okay.
And then she goes with him to his like release party. To, not release of an album, but fresh home from jail party.
I always like documentaries that have good access where the camera is just allowed, like fly on the wall. I don't like to use the term, but it is. I do like to just observe what you wouldn't otherwise see, and especially not from their own media team's eye, because that always seems a bit constructed and weird. But always good documentaries for me allow the viewer into something which they would never otherwise see.
Yeah, and it's not like none of it seems contrived or fake. It doesn't seem like anything is being done for the sake of the camera. It's just like
it's credit to the documentary maker for to make your contributor or the person that it's about to be that comfortable.
And I suppose that's a product of it just being her there. Like if there was like a guy with a boom stood there and there's some other guy with headphones on mixing sound, and that doesn't happen.
It detracts.
It's harder to happen.
Yeah.
So so one of the things I was surprised about, but I've heard of it before, but seeing it portrayed in this fly on the wall way is he gets a call on the same day he's released from his lawyer, who plays a big part in the documentary. Like there's it's supposed to be like client attorney privilege, where it's like it's all private and that, but she got the access to that. She's like recorded, like she was there when they're talking on FaceTime, where she's explaining his probation rules, and he's told he can't stay in London. He's got to move up to Norwich on by 1:00 that day, which means it must be early when they're all spraying champagne outside.
You don't get out of prison all the time.
That's the thing. In the car on the way from the prison to the party, she's like, yeah. So what does it feel like? What does it feel like getting out of jail? Like, you must feel great. And he's like, well, this is my 4th time being released. So.
Oh Jesus! It's a re-offender.
So yeah, and then he gets another. So not only does he have to move to Norwich, he also can't talk about certain things in his music, anything that incites violence. He gets in trouble, which pissed me off because I feel like it's a creative industry.
Yeah.
He should be able to express himself. This isn't China. But yeah, he also gets in trouble because the George Floyd situation happens while he's on probation in Norwich. He goes.
So it's quite recent then.
Yeah. He goes down the road to a Black Lives Matter protest, posts a picture, and then gets in trouble with the police because of it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's just on watch, really.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty rough, but then, yeah, I'm not going to say how it ends, but even though it's public record, but a tremendous documentary.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. No, I admire sort of small budget, organic things, and obviously they trusted her to do a good job of it, and she took it upon herself to like do a impressive, quick turnaround doc.
Yeah, man.
Smashed it.
Shout out to her.
Okay, I watched another BBC documentary on the YouTube about Liam Gallagher's As You Were album, which was extremely successful. I don't know what he did in the years between Oasis and there was another band.
Yeah,
wasn't there? BDI, and apparently it didn't do as well.
It's pretty wank.
Yeah, but he came back in a big way with this As You Were album, and I don't really know too much about Oasis or the whole beef with Blur and whatnot, but it was interesting to see him in a more vulnerable state than otherwise seen, because he's
quite a boisterous fella.
Says what he wanted, impulsive, got into a lot of trouble, sort of didn't censor himself whatsoever. Talking about censorship of Digga D, he wasn't censored in any way, not self-censored, not PR'd.
It's true. He was on stage like accepting an award at the Brits or something, and he ends it by going, "All right, let's all go do some class 8s." That's influencing people.
Yeah, I mean that's the 90s. It's different, man. It was a different world.
That's true.
Jokes were different. Other things were allowed. People were doing blackface on television, and it was okay. But it's just unfunny nowadays. Some of those things, But it was just it was a different climate, and he sort of, from what I can see, sort of went into an abyss with BDI and just wasn't as successful as he was previously. But I think this album like reinvigorated him, but also showed that he, in a sense, had musical talent, whereas I suppose before he was just seen as the front man who could sing in this strange way.
Like he wrote 1 or 2 songs, like popular Oasis songs,
but Noel was the right. He was the Gary Barlow. Gary Barlow. Gary Barlow owns all the masters to take that, and all the others just sort of follow in his wake.
Yeah, like how you went for Gary Barlow, and not like Paul McCartney or something.
Hey man, I went for Gary Barlow. That's what I went for. But I think the whole controversy between him and Noel, it took somewhat of a center stage in the documentary, but I'm glad they didn't focus on it too much because, I mean, it doesn't really matter.
And that's a separate documentary.
Yeah, it's a whole separate thing. And they did touch on it here and there, and they spoke to his mum, and she touched on it and hoped that they'd get back together or whatever. But primarily, this was just about how he was able to write another hit album. And he didn't really know that he could do that, but the stars aligned for him. And it showed that he did have some creative instincts and could make good songs on his own. And with this band, it just sort of got put together and there was no drama and it all just fit and went along. He did 138 shows, which is just insane. All over the world, still popular. people are screaming and crying, loving Liam, and he just still walks about like a child, but at the same time with the knowledge that he's a bit older and he can't do the things he once could.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
But
it's a coming of age tale.
Yeah. What I do like about it, though, it's the same with most creatives. He said, or like boxers or whatever, or high achieving athletes, is that when they're not doing their thing, they become offline, off kilter.
Yeah.
So towards the end of the documentary, it was like I had to start making another album because he just had no purpose. You know, that's his thing. That's what he needs to do, and he does it well, and he needs to carry it. But I always find that interesting about with like boxers, when they're not doing that, what do they do? You know, that's the whole.
That's why a lot of them
that's
go
the
broke,
whole shtick. Yeah, that's the whole thing, because they just lose the motive. You know,
Your purpose.
Your purpose.
That's
in
why
life.
Mike Tyson and Roy Jones are fighting this weekend.
It was a good promo to the Mike Tyson thing, but apparently they can't knock each other out.
It's an exhibition match.
It's a complete exhibition, but then somebody else has countered it and said they can knock each other out. Like, I want to see Mike Tyson knock out Roy Jones Jr. Is it going to happen? No.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be terrible.
surely they have a rule set. Are they wearing headgear?
No headgear, but they're wearing 12-ounce gloves, as opposed to 8, I think.
They could be knocked out. Because how can you, like, if you can hit to the head, then you can be knocked out.
Hey man, I have no idea. It just seems a bit, I don't know.
I mean, I'll watch it, but I'm not
paying £20 to watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch it illicitly.
Yeah. Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
I watched his No Fucks Given special on Netflix, and unfortunately, it's bad.
How many thumbs out of 5?
1.
1 thumb.
Yeah, 1 thumb.
It's tragic. 1 thumb given.
It's just not very good. But as I was saying, it's like it's not in any way well rehearsed. Because you know comedians listening to like Joe Rogan, people go for a year testing out material.
Yeah.
This seems like it wasn't tested. And because his audience loved him, they laughed. But I just thought that I found myself like 20 minutes in having not laughed out loud once.
Yeah, but I mean, it could be, maybe it's because of the virus that he couldn't go out to. I mean, he doesn't, to be fair, he doesn't normally, like, I don't think he's a guy that goes to little comedy clubs to test his material. He does like stadium tours.
He just
and then films the last one.
Okay. Yeah, he's a mega star.
Yeah.
So he's always going to sell whether it's good or bad, but it's just unfortunate because obviously his first specials or his first smaller shows were just fucking hilarious.
Yeah, but then his gimmick became like the pyrotechnics and he's wearing like leather trousers.
And he's like clowns about, you know, his thing is now sort of like performative comedy with less substance in the jokes, which makes it somewhat funny, but you're not laughing at the joke, you're laughing at what he's doing or the voice he's doing
like
or
Lee
the
Evans.
action. Yeah. Lee Evans did crack me up though.
Yeah, back in the day, Lee Evans was hilarious.
Was the man.
I was also like 10 then.
Yeah.
So.
Says a lot for his comedy. But yeah, it was just unfortunate really to see him sort of, because in some way it felt a bit embarrassing that, I don't know, it was like, you can do better than this. You were funny.
Yeah.
And it just shouldn't have been a special, I don't think.
But maybe, and I mean,
or maybe his audience has just changed and people like that, and he's catering to different people. But it just didn't seem like observational comedy in the same way that it used to be. It's like he's used up all his things, whereas somebody like Dave Chappelle just uses the world as his joke.
It's weird though, because Kevin Hart, like, if you watch him in interviews, he's a genuinely like funny guy. But it's weird when that doesn't translate into like onto the stage
anymore.
Yeah,
but it's like it used to.
But he's still funny.
I think just he has people laughing at him all the time.
Yeah.
That when he says unfunny things, people still laugh. so we can't really gauge that because he's just a natural funny person. That the substance just has become less, which is unfortunate. But yeah, 1 thumb up for that. But if you want to, I don't know, watch it in pity, please do. And then I've been watching Industry, which is about Canary Wharf, the finance industry, young graduates, mostly from Oxford and Eton. It's basically a comment on, or like an analysis, of fictional analysis of where Canary Wharf is at and what it's like and the chaotic lifestyles people lead. One character goes out all night clubbing, sniffing gear, has sex in the toilets with a woman, then goes to work
straight away. Yeah.
Oh God, I couldn't think of anything worse.
The bit in that makes me think that okay, maybe it's like I felt so much relief when I saw him like at work have a shower and like put deodorant on and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, it's not all bad. Like he can get away with this. But if he went in there just straight like with BO and
it was just causes me a lot of stress. I think the reason why it's well made and the reason why I'm so into it is because it creates anxiety within me, and I think good shows do that, especially like horror or drama or thrillers. It creates that thing where you don't want the bad thing to happen, and you're totally involved in the pursuit of some fuckery. But basically, it follows this girl, this woman who is obviously extremely intelligent, but in the first episode, you realize that she's forged documents of her university. So she's already probably not supposed to be there or lied to get in there, but is making headway with her sort of boldness. And the people from Oxford look upon her with some sort of envy because she's taken it by the reins and that her sort of superior is taking note of her boldness or her
because she like her thing is that she doesn't have the official education, but she's making just through her performance
exactly
trying to say that you don't need the education.
You don't necessarily need it, but obviously to get on these graduate schemes, mostly people are being given the opportunity because they're Oxford graduates. And I read a little bit about the creators of the show. They were in Canary Wharf or in the finance industry for a bit, didn't like it, so they wanted to show the sort of stresses and just the chaos of it all. The sort of ordered chaos.
I thought it was made by Americans.
So the two guys are English, but it got picked up by Lena Dunham, who's an executive producer who made Girls. So it's being concurrently shown with HBO. And it's just extremely interesting, but also it's just good because it's like young, hot people going about life in a particular way in a stressful situation. I'm looking at them with no envy, but at the same time, you just want to carry on watching because they're getting themselves into some sticky situations.
Tremendous, man. Yeah, I saw the first episode. It's pretty good. But
it gets so stressful. There was one part in the third episode where they go for a meeting with a client, and the two of the graduates are talking at cross purposes, and one of the seniors is in the office, and it's just a shit show because it's my worst nightmare. Imagine being at work with the high profile client and you're having an argument, you're having in-house fighting between two of you, and then your superior saying, let's leave this at the front. Oh my God. I paused it and went downstairs and made a cup of tea and then came back and prepared myself to watch the rest of the scene. It was it was a stressful scenario.
And it's a bad advert for modafinil use.
Oh yeah, some guy dies.
Which I don't think that's realistic, but he was taking it too far.
He took it way too far, man. His heart came up.
Get it together.
Cool, man.
Tremendous. It's nice to see you, mate.
C'est la vie.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.